Hey guys, Phil here at Woods Tree Farm. It is end of October and it is fall planting day for us here in Central Virginia. As usual here in Virginia, the weather's a little unpredictable. It happens to be almost 80 degrees today, which is not ideal planting conditions, but we're doing what we're going to do. It's going to rain overnight tonight or tomorrow, and and the temperatures will be going back down after that. So trees should be all right. We've had them in the cool, in the shade, and we're putting them in the root dip now. I'll show you what Stacy's doing here in a second, but I wanted to show you the planter. We got it hooked up to the tractor. We made a little test run, and the only thing that I know about the planter so far is that you got to get the top link adjusted just right, because if the top link is too short, those wheels in the back will be off the ground and they won't close up the ground on the tree as you're going along. So we made a couple test runs without really planting trees. We just kind of went up and down over here, actually not where we're planting trees. We went over that way, just kind of went back and forth a couple times, and it looks like it's going to be all right. A couple of the trees that we have, 100 of the trees, the Norway spruces, are really big. So this thing is really not cutting all that deep. So we're going to have to see how they go. Hopefully we can make the planter work for those things. If not, we're going to have to plant those 100 by hand. But we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I will kind of give you a quick rundown of what we're going to do here on our first several rows. We're going to do Norway spruces. We only have 100 of those. And basically that's going to put those trees right next to our Norway spruces from the previous year, which are right over there on the other side of the tractor. That's probably only going to be 4 rows of Norway spruces. Then we're going to get into the Canaan firs. Canaan firs are going to fill up all of these rows. And then we're going to plant by hand, filling in where we had losses on Canaan firs from last spring until we run out of firs. And then way down here on the other side of this spring's Canaan firs, we've got some freshly prepped rows, and this will be where we put all of our concolor firs. Some of these rows, as we get closer to the tree line over there, get shorter. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how many we can fit in this section here. I've got 12 rows altogether, but like I said, some of them are shorter. We're probably not going to fit all of the concolor firs that we have in this area. So whatever we have left, we'll go back into the main field. We will fill in the concolor firs where we've had losses from last year. And then we have 100 Scotch pine as well. And we will probably be planting those by hand. There might be one row or partial row down, because we're just filling in Scotch pines where we had losses. There might be one row or one partial row where we can use the transplanter. We'll just have to kind of wait and see how it goes. All right, come over here, Hudson. You're going to do the root dip. This is the Ecto root dip. We've used this before, and it has a mixture rate of, it says right here in the package, this package will make 20 to 25 gallons of root dip. We don't need that much. We're just going to do a couple gallons at a time. So if we divide the package weight into what it says it does, 15-ounce package into 25 gallons, I already did the math. You know what it is?
1.666666 something.
1.66666666666666666666666666, and it goes on forever.
Oh.
Okay. So you're going to turn this on, turn that little scale on, wait for it to go to zeros, put this on there, hit 0 again, or see the word tare, T-A-R-E, that means 0. There you go. That canceled out the weight of this bowl. And then you're going to carefully pour this in, go ahead and try, until that says something close to 1.66, okay? And it's going to happen pretty quick.
I went over.
You went over, you're at 2.4, so you can try to just pour a little bit of that back in there. 1.9. And it's okay if we do a little bit more, because we can just put in a little extra water. So that 1.7 is pretty close. All right, so we'll just put in a little bit over a gallon of water and it'll be fine. But you can now dump that into this bucket and I'll get our water out. All right, there you go. You can mix up that second one and we're good to go.
In a minute, I can.
Over here we've got Stacy and her dad prepping the seedlings. These are those Norway spruces. Stace, take off that whole bottom branch. That big bottom branch on that one. Yep. Yeah. So they are prepping the seedlings, taking off the lowest branches and cutting the roots down to about 12 inches. And then we're going to put them in the root dip. And then once we got all 100 of those done, we will go ahead and drop these in the ground. All right, so we're ready for the maiden voyage here. We got all the trees piled up, and we're going to try something. We haven't done this before, as I've mentioned, so we're trying here. We've got our fertilizer tablets over here. So one rider is going to try to drop a fertilizer tablet in while the other one takes care of the tree. And we'll have Hudson follow along here with the camera, and we'll see how it goes. Well, things are going pretty well until we realize that some of the soil in the rows that we prepped, so over here are all the rows that we've prepped in previous videos, and way over there by the tree line, the rows that are over there, we could see when the transplanter's shoe was digging into the soil that what was underneath was just like this sopping wet dense clay, like modeling clay almost. It was not good. So we were supposed to put, with our original plan, we were supposed to put our concolors down there. But since I know that they generally don't like clay soil, I decided not to. I put our pines over there, and now we only had 100 pine. There was like too much room for pine. So we've got some rows that we prepped that are being unused down there, whatever. So what we've done now is we filled in some concolors way up in where there were some of last year's losses, and now we're prepping some new rows real quick. So not nearly as precise as we've done before, but we stretched out a string. We measured 8 feet in between each one. We're throwing down just one quick little pass or 2 passes with the tiller, and just to break up the topsoil, because that's another thing that we found with the transplanter, is that the shoe, I don't even know if that's what you call it, but the thing that digs into the ground was getting caught up with sod and roots and other plant material. And then once that thing was all caked up, then it would lift the transplanter up, and then it wasn't actually digging the way that it was supposed to dig, and we couldn't transplant. So everywhere where we had fully prepared the soil previously, the transplanter works great. But anywhere that we've tried where it's not as prepared, like there's established grasses on the top, it doesn't just cut through cleanly like you think it should. I mean, maybe your grasses are different than mine, or maybe your soil conditions are different than mine, and maybe it works for you. But for what we're doing, it's just getting all caked up, and then it doesn't dig the way it's supposed to dig. So what we're doing now, we've got 4 rows here. Hopefully everything fits. With what we've got here, we might have to do a 5th row, but we're going to go ahead and throw these down here before it gets dark, and then we'll have to come back out tomorrow and finish up. And you see right up here in the middle of this section of field, this is where we had some heavy losses last year with firs. So we went ahead and dropped in a couple rows of concolors in here, and we'll see how they do. And then our last bit of concolors, we're going to go up and put them in those fresh rows that we just laid out. Here we go. If you look at those spruces, they're doing great. Those were the first ones we put in today, and those are the biggest trees that we had here today. And Rows are nice and straight. That's one thing with the transplanter. You gotta love how straight those rows are. We've already come back through all of these and just kind of made sure all of the trees were straight. There were a few trees that needed to be straightened out. There were a few that needed to be tamped down a little bit. But all in all, the transplanter makes quick and easy work of this.